Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another wonderful session on the topic of anesthesia, the subject of anesthesia. And now on, we are starting with a series on the YouTube channel for the Unacademy Lead PG students who we will be dealing with FMG recall questions. Yes. So today's session is based on FMG recall of 2017 questions. Yes. So there will be series which will be followed up by FMG 2018, 2019 and 2020 questions which will help you in your preparations for your FMG upcoming examinations. So on that note, let me first introduce myself. I am Dr. Hitesh Nathani, your anesthesia educator on this wonderful platform of Unacademy. And I have got a teaching experience of now more than 5 years, and I am working as a consultant neuroanesthesiologist, and I have been given degrees and postdoctoral fellowships in neuro and regional trauma anesthesia respectively. And since the beginning of the NEET PG category on an academy, I have been taking anesthesia courses for you guys. And how can you subscribe to the Unacademy Plus subscription on this platform? Yes, what are the benefits of it? You get to have daily live classes. Yes, most of the times what we lack is the internal self motivation and dedication to attend to actually go through the videos. This live feature which is there on this wonderful platform of Unacademy takes care of that external motivation that you require. Most of the time we do not get that internal motivation, so when you have got that external motivation to attend the live classes, that is where is one of the best parts to of an academy. Yes, we have got daily live quizzes, live tests, a lot of structured courses of which and when examination you are attending, and yes, unlimited access to all the videos of all the educators. Yes, one very important part which is there, that Unacademy and PrepLadder have come together, and there is this iconic subscription in which you can have the live class advantage of Unacademy and the recorded video lectures whenever you want to. Yes, live test and quizzes which are there on Unacademy, and the Q bank of the PrepLadder, as well as the rapid revision series of the PrepLadder. There are two wonderful platforms coming together to help you out with your preparations for the upcoming examinations. And these are some of the links which you can click and you can go through the live classes on the Unacademy platform that I have taken previously. These are free special classes which will help you to actually recognize what all are the structures, what all are the classes that we are taking on the Unacademy day in and day out. Yes, about the quizzes that are going on the Unacademy for the NEET PG 2022 people who are appearing in the year 2022. There is a quiz daily on Unacademy which you can attend live at 9 p.m. Yes, and for those who are attending and targeting NEET PG 2021, there is a daily quiz at 8 p.m. on Unacademy app daily. Yes, so what you have to do, you just have to download the Unacademy Learning app. Once you have downloaded from the Play Store, you will have to log in your category. Yes, NEET PG category is where you belong to. There are like plus subscriptions, free courses, and special classes. Yes, I've just shared with you the link of the special class which you can go through and watch. There are a lot of special classes that I've taken on the subject of anesthesia. And after you have downloaded the app and categorized for the NEET PG category, you can use the code that is Dr. Hitesh YT to get 10% off on the subscription. And don't forget to hit the bell icon and subscribe to our channel. Yes. So yes, let us begin with the first question for the day of FMG recall questions. Which of the following local anesthetic causes methemoglobinemia? Options are option A lignocaine, option B benzocaine, option C chloroprocaine, and option D tibucaine. Remember, for the topic of local anesthetics, we have taken a detailed lecture which you can go and check out on the platform. But yes, local anesthetics is one of the very important topics when it comes to the examination. And there are a lot of straight one-liners questions which are asked on this local anesthesia topics. Yes? So which are the drugs that are mentioned here causes methemoglobinemia? To remember this, we have got a very simple mnemonic, that is PBM, Paneer Butter Masala. Yes, that is what I call a very simple mnemonic, that is Paneer Butter Masala. M stands for methemoglobinemia. So which are the drugs? Prilocaine and benzocaine. Yes. So PBM. M stands for methemoglobinemia. P and B stands for your name of the local anesthetics. P stands for prilocaine, B stands for benzocaine. So amongst this, which of the options has there? Lignocaine, benzocaine, chloroprocaine, or ibuprocaine? Yes. So your correct answer would be option B, that is benzocaine. Such way, a lot of questions like one liners like which is the most potent, which is the least potent, which is the longest acting, which is the shortest acting, which is contraindicated in malignant hypothermia, which is used or indicated in malignant hypothermia. These type of questions which are very frequently asked on local anesthetics that you should know of. Yes. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following ligament is pierced during lumbar puncture right before entering the dura mater? Yes, that is supraspinous ligament, option A. Option B, interspinous ligament. Option C, ligamentum flavum. Or option D, that is infraspinous ligament. So let us have a look at the structures which are pierced while we give any central neuraxial block. Yes, it starts with skin, then you move on to subcutaneous tissue or subcutaneous fascia. After that, you enter the ligaments, that is supraspinous ligament. After that, you enter the interspinous ligament. After that, there comes ligamentum flavum. Ligamentum flavum. After that comes your dura mater. Then comes your arachnoid mater. And last one to be pierced is pia mater. Yes. So this is how an arachnoid mater, dura mater, and pia mater is. Either you can go outside to inward, that is DAP, or inside outwards, that is PAD. That is the mnemonic that you can follow. That pia mater is the innermost ligament, innermost structure which has to be pierced just before entering the cord. So we don't go up to pia mater. We just stay above it. Yes. So which are the structures that you pierce? That is what the question is asking. Just before entering the dura mater. Yes. So dura mater, remember the central neuraxial blockade. We have studied two types. One is epidural. Yes. And the second is spinal. Spinal is also known as subarachnoid block. Subarachnoid block. So epidural, epi means what guys? Epi means above, right? Epidural. So above the dura mater, that is, this is the space that you enter to give epidural anesthesia. Yes. And what do you mean by subarachnoid block? That means sub means below. So below the arachnoid, that is between arachnoid and pia, this is the place where you give subarachnoid block or spinal anesthesia. So what is it asking? Just before entering the dura mater, which is the space present here? Epidural. So which ligament you have to pierce just before entering the dura mater? The answer is ligamentum flavum. And yes, the ligamentum flavum is the toughest ligament. Once you cross this ligament, you get this loss of resistance technique. Yes, that is what is the technique which is used to master the epidural. Yes, once you get this loss of resistance technique, that is when you are sure that yes, you have entered into the epidural space. So that tough ligament, which is the ligamentum flavum, that is when you have to cross it to enter the dura mater. So what is the correct answer to this question? The following ligament which is pierced during lumbar puncture right before entering the dura mater is, yes guys, option C, that is ligamentum flavum. Skin, supraspinous subcutaneous tissue, supraspinous, interspinous ligament, then comes ligamentum flavum, and after the ligamentum flavum is your mnemonic DAP, dura mater, arachnoid mater, and pia mater. Yes. Moving on to the next question. Correct sequence for resuscitation is, yes, this was the question which was asked even in this year's INICET. Yes, the sequence for resuscitation. Yes, it was asked in a little twisted manner, but yes, this was asked. So CPR forms a mainstay for your questions which are going to be coming in the upcoming examinations. Yes, mainstay of your topic. CPR has to be read in and out. You should actually recall, solve as many number of MCQs as possible. Yes, because CPR, as simple a topic as it sounds, it is not that. Yes, when you get the options which are there on your screen, you automatically get confused regarding that. Yes, so correct sequence for resuscitation during CPR is early assessment, CPR, defibrillator, advanced cardiac life support, CPR, early assessment, defib, and ACLS. Option C, CPR, defib, early assessment, advanced life saving. And option D is early assessment, defib, CPR, advanced life saving. Yes, just look at the number of options that you have got here. Yes, guys, you will be able to see that all the options have got advanced life saving as the last one. Yes, and there are two options which have got early assessment as the first option, and 2 which has got CPR as the first option. Now let us just not go into the details of that. Just by looking at the first options, you should be able to at least eliminate 50% of the options. Yes. So the first thing, whenever you see a unconscious victim or a victim who is present who requires resuscitation, is what do you do? Yes. Whether you just go and start with chest compressions, that is CPR, or you first go and assess the patient. Yes. First, we have to look for the scene safety. Then you have to check for the responsiveness. So how is the sequence? First is scene safety. Yes. This is the first and foremost thing that you have to do. Yes. Whether the scene where you have to resuscitate a patient, is it safe for you and the victim? Yes. Next is what do? You call for help, and along with that you check for the responsiveness of the patient. Yes. If somebody is present with you, that person will go and call for help. Yes. If that is not present with you, you have got your gadget, that is mobile phone, along with calling for the from the mobile phone calling for help. You like look for the responsiveness of the patient. Yes. So automatically what are ruled out? CPR options are ruled out. Yes. So option B and option C is ruled out here. Correct. So next what you do after calling for help, whoever goes to call for help get the AED. But by the time you are there, who's taking the responsiveness, what do? You start with CPR after assessing the patient. Yes, looking for the responsiveness. You shout out for the patient's name. You tap the shoulders. If you know the patient name, you shout it out, and then you start with assess the patient and start with CPR. How do you assess? You look for the carotid pulse and breathing of the patient along with that. Yes. So early assessment, CPR, and by the time your friend, whoever is there with you, if the help is has coming, has got the AED, early defibrillator is a must, because the sooner you defibrillate, the better are the chances of better prognosis and better outcome of that patient. But what is the option D? It says early assessment, defibrillator, and then CPR. No. First, early assessment, look for the responsiveness, call for help, and then begin with the CPR, right? So option A is the best possible answer here, correct? Moving on to the next question here, guys. The drug fentanyl can be given by all of the following routes except, yes, the question can be asked either in the form of multiple right questions, or it can be asked in the format which is asked here. The drug fentanyl can be given by all of the following routes except epidural, intravenous, intradermal, or oral. Yes. So fentanyl can be given by epidural. Yes or no? Yes, it can be given by epidural, as well as it can be given by spinal. Yes, or intrathecal. Intrathecal. Can it be given intrathecal? Yes, it can be given epidural. Of course, it can be given in labor analgesia. At some places they practice with fentanyl, but small amounts, small doses. Yes. Intravenous route, of course, this is one of the drugs which can be given and which is given day in and day out, and is a preferred opioid which is to be given for analgesia. Yes, so intravenous route, it can be given. Intradermal, whether we can give intradermal? No, we cannot give fentanyl intradermal. It is, we can give intramuscular, or there are patches which is known as transdermal patches. Yes, we have studied somewhere like dermal will come in your mind, but yes, it is transdermal patch. Yes, it is transdermal patch of fentanyl which is applied. We do not give intradermal injections. Yes, intramuscular injections, yes, can be given, but transdermal patch is what is it is used for. Yes. And oral, yes, in pediatric patients, we usually give it in the form of some chocolate or lollipop to a patient. Like oral route is also preferred mode of giving fentanyl. So yes, epidural can be given, intravenous can be given, intrathecal, intramuscular, transdermal, and oral. These are the routes via which fentanyl can be given. Intradermal, no, it cannot be given. So correct answer here is intradermal is the route by which fentanyl cannot be given. So these were the questions which were asked in the FMG 2017 examinations. I hope you guys enjoyed today's session, and coming sessions will be up the following of this FMG 2018, 2019, 2020, and also there will be some previous year's question from other examinations as well. So I'll see you in my next session.